Hello, and welcome to the Heartfinder Podcast, December 22nd. I'm going to be talking about some roadblocks or hurdles that I've run into, some ways that I've solved them, and how I'm feeling like I'm changing with respect to my orientation towards life. So, I've just taken a brief hiatus. As I don't have an audience right now, this is really only important for my own sake. But the last time I published an episode, it was December 15th, and now it's December 22nd. This Heartfinder podcast is something that I started in order to get better and better at expressing myself and synthesizing ideas and metabolizing content that I needed to learn, because as we all know, teaching is a great way to learn, and it seems to be my only way to learn, for example, Pilates textbook material. So the podcast is very important to me. So the fact that I'm just now coming back, I'm wanting to make sure that I think about, what happened and why. So on the 15th, I was a little bit tired of doing heavy Pilates textbook material, and so I wanted to make it more free form. And I ended up talking about my relationship, and I ended up expressing positive and negative things about the relationship, and it left me feeling kind of weird. Would anyone see it unless I sent them the link and asked them to see it? No. But I started thinking, but if he knew that I said those things, or he could hear it and find that I was talking about us, how would he feel? So although I don't have an audience now, I can start honing the awareness of what is and isn't things I want to say online. So I started asking myself and discussing with ChatGPT, what should and shouldn't be posted online. And one of the things that I've, realized is if the experience is processed and sort of complete, then the emotions should be more settled. But if I'm still in it, and still feeling, and it's still unfinished, that doesn't feel safe. That feels riskier to post. Writing and teaching and storytelling and explaining, great things to do in this domain. Boundaried vulnerability. I thought this was a great way of putting it. Boundaried vulnerability. This was hard. I learned these things. Whereas, hey, does anybody hear me? Does anybody understand me? Can anybody save me? These kinds of things. So, vulnerability about past experiences or complete experiences feel different than experiences that I'm currently in the middle of, right? Values and orientation. Here's what I'm working on. Here's what I'm trying for. Here's what I'm aiming at. Great things to talk about. But now let's avoid maybe meltdowns, panics, spirals, maybe relationally charged material. So this or that current problem in this or that current relationship. Trying to be okay, this is who I am now. And that's huge for me because I feel like I'm working on becoming like water and going with the flow. So I'm never declaring that I've figured this or that out. I'm done with this or that. Or this is my identity now. Not so much. Or posting for some sort of reaction. If I would post this the same if I had no audience versus I had an audience, or it doesn't matter so much to post it at all, then that's probably safe. Am I regulated enough to tolerate no response or not the response that I would want? Good question to be asking. Would I be okay if this were out there forever? Another great question to be asking. And is it something I would want a stranger to know about me, or know that I said, or say back to me? So, after I thought about these things, I wanted a fresh start. So the 4 episodes that were out there before, 2 that were kind of freeform, just kind of discussing some ideas, and 2 that were explaining chapters 1 and 2 of Pilates Anatomy, have been removed, and I'm going to talk about why I removed the Pilates Anatomy ones too. But they also contained some personal sharings in the beginnings of the episodes. So I was using, for those 4 prior episodes, I was using iMovie. It wasn't bad, and I was starting to get the hang of it. One time I did like one audio and stitched a bunch of slides onto it. It was kind of a pain, maybe because I never really learned how to do it properly. And one time I did like one audio per slide. That was a little easier, but still, how tedious is it to be finished talking and making slides and then need to stitch it all together? And it would seem easy, it sounds easy, but I didn't find the UI for that super easy, so it ended up taking still more time than I wanted to spend. And it was still unneeded and unwanted overhead, so if I'm going to be using this as an outlet, a creative outlet, I don't want to be spending time on the tedious parts. So I decided to try this Office for Mac. That's what I'm using now. And by default, it just included the camera. I thought that was kind of cool. And totally adjusts my format, I guess. Am I a dork for paying for Microsoft, people? So sometimes I tend to be really straight and narrow and even rigid. Always trying to do the right thing, maybe more so than I need to, and I'm living off of savings. And there's probably other options. But I don't know, I have till January 20th to take it back. So we'll see if I keep it. Oh well. So from today onwards, I'll be trying, I'll be using Microsoft PowerPoint, where I can conveniently record the presentations at the same time in the same application. No stitching together. It should just make an MP4 for me. We'll see. And it should be more convenient since I'm liking the format of PowerPoints anyway. Okay, so now I want to talk about what happened with Pilates also. So there were a lot of pivots that took place in this time. So I tried to make myself a self-assignment that I would make teaching videos for the Pilates Anatomy chapters. And once those are complete, or I have a few of them, I would maybe tag AFPA, the certification body that I'm working with for my Pilates certification, and say, hey, I learn best by teaching, and I decided that I needed to really learn this content, so I made videos teaching it. If these are useful to anyone else, please feel free to use them. But then I started thinking, okay, if they are going to be in front of some audience, I need to start thinking about, am I doing anything wrong? And I realized, okay, can I use, because I've been taking the book's not only images, but words verbatim, because I'm just trying to get people ready for myself and or other people ready for a certification. So I've just been teaching from the book. But this could be considered copyright infringement. Even if educational purposes are only intended, this could be copyright infringement. So, yeah, and I was constantly quoting the book and using their words verbatim. So now all the content that I did have before, chapters 1 and 2, which is huge and thick and very technical, and start of chapter 3 are pretty much null and void. So I have to start over, and I have to develop new skills, skills that I maybe need to develop, and that is fine. But I was already kind of behind on the content already. because I would have started my certification on November 16th. It's now November 22nd, and I'm at least 3 weeks behind. So it's discouraging. So I'd be lying if I wasn't saying that I'm overwhelmed. And I'm getting negative self-talk about all of this. In this day and age, this and that, negative self-talk, you have no idea. So, but I can monitor and work with that. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was overwhelmed. And there's more. Because I have back trouble. I mean, the whole inspiration for going to Pilates is that I have some back trouble. I found out that I have some bulging and thinning discs, and there is no chair at my mom's house. There's just no chair. And I started thinking I better get a chair. Because I started being a creative problem solver like I am, and I put a box on the stove, and I stood, and I worked, and in 20 minutes every time I did that, my low back would get irritated. Or I would lie down. One of my go-to methods over the past couple years is that I lie down and I type on my lap. But even if I don't have a pillow, and even if I lift the laptop as high as I can on my knee, crossed over, on my knee that with the ankle crossed over the other knee, even if it's really high up, there's no denying that it's encouraging the tech neck more. And that's one of my problem areas. So I had no back solution. So I thought I need to buy a chair, but I am living off of savings, and to buy the right chair would be expensive. And I don't know anything about it, so I need somebody to teach me. And it would be nice if someone taught me for my particular injuries, so I would need some sort of evaluation, which would probably cost more money. And like I said, from all of these other things we've been discussing, I'm already behind, I'm already overwhelmed. So yesterday when I went to my exercise class, it occurred to me I should use a co-working space. And I thought, oh my God, what a wonderful balance. I'm not making I can get restarted on my creative projects, and I can not worry about the chair right now, because that's a huge purchase and I'm not ready for it. But I found out those are about $20 per day, and they're designed for people that can make business expenses. So I made these slides today at the library. So, perfect. I need to be, the public library is the exact place for me right now to be doing some of these creative work, to find a nice place to sit, and overall just keep moving forward and not be so stuck and overwhelmed. So overall, there have been many pivots in my head between December 15th and today, December 22nd. There have been some setbacks, some listed and some are not, so there's been other things going on as well. And there's probably been some excuses, honestly. But I'm happy that I'm here and I'm trying to move forward with who I am and what I have. All pivots and solutions and steps forward have made me feel really empowered. I like watching myself solve problems and get through things. So I would say that this creative area of my life is going really well because I'm here and I'm showing up and we're doing it. So, welcome to December 22nd. Let's go. I wish it was let's go, but various things make me feel like I'm here and I'm doing it. You know, it's more of a low energy, let's go kind of a vibe. Turning that off so I can be present. So, let's talk about some things that are going well in my life. So, cleaning. Since I got home 3 weeks ago, I completely cleaned out the fridge. I cleaned and organized the kitchen and food. I cleaned the living room. I cleaned off a small table by the kitchen. It's a relief. I sorted and Goodwilled a ton of clothes, which freed up like bathroom space and near the closet space and some living room space. And I'm doing a pretty good job of handling the laundry and washing the dishes. my mom does pretty much most of the cooking, or we do easy stuff. But I'm really proud of myself that I've been able to contribute positively. But the best win is that I cleaned the hallway recently. Now, the hallway had a big bookshelf that had been there for, 30 years or so, and some stacked baskets to the side of that, and some boxes in front. Next time I tackle an area of the house, I really need to be getting before pictures. But then what happened is about 5 days ago, I sat down and I said, I'm going to do only the bottom shelf. I asked my mom all about all the books. I set aside a few that she was wondering, I wonder if that's an antique. I'm just going to check lightly on those and then probably Goodwill those as well. Then I dusted them off because they were super dusty and put them in bags. And then the second day I showed up and I did the second of 3 shelves. Same thing. Do you want these? No. Okay, put them in bags, dust them off. And then I did the third shelf on the third day and stopped. Loving this. And then that fourth day, we cleaned to the top of it, and we took care of the rest of the miscellaneous stuff in the hallway, and then I disassembled the bookshelf, so the hall became completely empty. So the fact that she said, no, I don't want to keep it to any one of those books is so satisfying, because it means that those things were in the house taking up space and were really not wanted. And the bare hall just keeps giving us this really positive feeling. Oh, there's so much space in here. It's so nice. Feeling good about all of this. So when I get really antsy at home, or I just don't want to sit and visit, but I don't want to go out, I'm immediately, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Mom's doing the decisions, and I'm doing the the actions in space. It's really satisfying. It's always really easier to clean things of others than your own stuff. And this is kind of my childhood home, also, this apartment. And it's a continuation of my last few visits also. I was already kind of looking forward to cleaning that bookshelf when I was gone. So it's a continuation of my last few visits, honestly. I've been cleaning closets and other stuff in the living room. This place that I've made a makeshift seat for myself now, this dresser here. It was all just old stuff that we cleaned all of the drawers out, and now I'm using it for my stuff now that I've come home. It's really satisfying to be, slowly chipping away at all of these things and making the house more livable. And I feel like I'm cleaning my own mind when I'm doing this kind of work, so I'm really happy about it. So, like I said, I had that back diagnosis, so I wanted to spend more time. I had about 2 weeks with a really excellent, very skilled chiropractor, and I was nervous because I couldn't continue to see him, and I said, I wish I could see you longer. And he said, well, it's okay. Now it's going to be up to you. You need to do some exercises on this way and that way. And I'm happy to report that since November 16th, I have maintained consistent exercise. Now, this has been hard for me in my past because I've just had a very spotty on-again, off-again relationship with exercise. There have been a lot of things contributing to that, deficit of mine. But I'm happy to report that I seem to be getting the hang of it now. So almost every day I'm going to a 1-hour group fitness class, like bar, Pilates, yoga, or some fusion of these things. In earlier times, even just in this stint since November 16th, I couldn't make it that much time. And even going out of the house would have been a little bit more scary. So I'm happy that I'm able to exercise that long most days. And I'm listening and responding real time to things as they come up. Right now, I've made a makeshift chair for myself and my mom's. It's not holding out great because my shoulders are getting tense, but I know exactly how to take care of myself. I'm going to do this exact thing. I'm getting, the tension headache and stuff. So I need to do T's and Y's, and that will help me. That will help me prevent getting a headache tomorrow, and it will help me take care of the tension today. But I'm happy to report that the headaches, when I first got home and I was first starting to do these, they were much more frequent. And now they're not as frequent at all. So that's great, and I'm just happy that I know, I'm having upper back tension, I'm having a headache, and I can tell that it's related to tension, and I have a toolkit that helps me. So that's wonderful to see that real-time response to my needs. My low back and hips are getting irritated quite often. I don't know quite often, but sometimes. And I have to limit my driving right now. I don't think I've set the seat up properly. I still need to get some low abs. Anyway, and when I'm training the low abs, I've noticed that I brace in the shoulders. Aha! I was thinking how that makes everything all connected, right? Because sometimes when I go to class and I work the low abs, the shoulders jump in to try to compensate for the fact that I don't have low ab muscle developed. And then later I'm feeling tense in the neck, so it's feeling all connected. But anyway, the exercise area of my life is feeling overall really good. Meditation. As my body comes more and more online from the work that I'm doing, meditation is somehow easier and somehow harder at the same time. I'll try and express that in a more concrete way as time allows some other time. But it's going well. I usually get at least 1 hour every morning. I can remember a day recently when I meditated like 3 hours. So today when I thought about I need to go back to like 0 screen time, except for things like this or really mindful, I felt a huge like relief in my solar plexus. So I realized, oh my God, screen time actually stresses the real me out. So I have given up screens before, and it has helped me so much. I don't know how I got sucked in again. Or do I? We're going to talk some about that in the next slide. But anyway, one positive idea I have to be able to replace the screens in my life is go back to meditation. You can do meditation anywhere, and you don't need anything to do it. And the more you meditate, the closer you are to the truth of the experience because you're more present. So I don't know how I got sucked in, but on the other hand, I have some ideas about how I got sucked back in again. So I've always had an interest in consciousness versus unconscious, and how we float in and out between conscious and unconscious states, and what even does that mean, because intellectually versus like experientially, like what does that mean? And one of these things that I was thinking about yesterday that I'm trying to like develop as an idea is conscious participation in life versus being dragged through it. So I'm in a phase in my life that's going to be really rich for pattern recognition because I'm resting at my mother's house after like a lot of heavy meditation abroad. And I'm having a crash unlike any crash I would have ever expected. I can't remember a time when I've had less energy and less to give. So there's a lot of time for reflection. And I can see, luckily, I've started to work through it as I've gotten older. But I used to carry with me a lot of resentment and I'm still learning about how emotions work But here I'd be let's start talking about resentment here as like a mental habit pattern, a habitual reactive pattern. So some of the things that I used to habitually resent is how other people see me, or whether they understand me, or their past treatment of me. I would resent different aspects of that, or the whole like get a job that you hate, because that's what I had modeled for me. Get a job that you hate, resent it, and hate it, and work until you die. Or, societal expectations or whatever. And I would resent those, and I would refuse to play certain games and throw babies out with bathwater. And like a lot of good things were thrown out in the process, but I just had so much resentment for this life. It felt like we could be dragged through life doing things that we didn't want to do until we eventually just like to try to prolong our life so that we don't die. And recently with meditation, I feel like I've come more online. I've worked through some of the things that I needed to do, and I feel like I'm starting to like consciously engage more in life. It feels like a little bit of an uphill battle sometimes, but it feels like one that I really am privileged to make. It probably an uphill battle for many people, and probably just more so than me in many cases, but I'm just really happy to be here and participating in the ways that I'm able to. So here is an example of like a similar parallel in literature that I was really thinking about as I was thinking about this consciously participating in life versus being dragged through it by compulsion or resentful or whatever. And that's in the ending book, toward the end of Harry Potter. I love the work and I don't endorse the creator, but I do still want to discuss this moment. So toward the end of the last book, Voldemort casts Avada Kedavra on Harry. Rather than die, he ends up in a liminal space and talks to the late Dumbledore. So a few things happen during that conversation that are pretty profound. Harry finds out that he was never actually meant to die, but just the Horcrux on him was supposed to die. Harry can die if he wants to, and he's not compelled to return to his life or to fight Voldemort. But he discusses with Dumbledore, that as long as he lives, Voldemort will always keep hurting and killing and threatening people. And Harry realizes that he can't be at peace as long as Voldemort is alive, and that he has to help stop him. And this changes Harry's orientation from one of being, forced, chased, threatened, constantly having to do this thing where he can't have any peace, and Voldemort is this constant, oppressive, horrifying presence in his life. It changes to one of him choosing voluntarily and willingly to go back and fight him for overall goodness. And I can't stop thinking about this moment, and I feel like in a smaller way, that's what I'm trying to do, and I didn't realize that I was doing it the other way. I think those, resentment as a habit pattern can be really habitual, and then even it can be really, really hard to break, right? I'm still learning the different ways that emotions work, because sometimes emotions are there and they're stored on their body and they need to be released, and then other times emotions are being generated, but sometimes it feels like you're not trying to generate knowing when they're just there. I'm still learning what emotions are, but I know sometimes they are habit patterns, and I had more resentment as a habit pattern before, and now I feel like, okay, I'm finally clearing some of the things that were blocking me, such as resentment as a habit pattern, and I'm much willingly showing up to life and accepting and embracing what's there. And I'm really happy to do that. And I felt this moment in Harry Potter was parallel to that. So what are some tools to go from being dragged through life and then being consciously, willingly participating in it from any angle? I have only my own experience to draw from, and I would never want to say that I could inform anyone else's experience. But I have been looking out and forming some observations that I hope are helpful. For example, radical acceptance. I think that is really, really powerful and the only way forward in terms of, do you have to accept if you don't like your job or if you don't like some aspect of your life? Do you have to stay there? No. But are you there now? Yes. And the best thing to do is to radically accept that. Not because it's fair or good, but because it is the correct orientation towards it. It creates lubricant and slippage so that you can be in the moment and present and engage with it in the only way that makes sense. Because otherwise you can resent this aspect of your life and you can generate resentment, but that resentment is going to get in the way, perhaps, maybe grow. So I'll give you some concrete examples of radical acceptance, okay? So I recently bought a coffee maker for my mom, and within a few days, we realized that it didn't work. And I just had some sort of bad feeling about trying to return it because we neither had the receipt nor the box anymore. Finally, I called Fred Meyer and asked, hey, I do have my rewards card and I do have the coffee maker, but I don't have the receipt or the box. She definitely didn't want to help me. She definitely gave me the brush off. She definitely didn't fully listen to me because I don't think you need the receipt in order to return things if you have the Fred Meyer reward card, but she might have not heard that part. And she was giving me the brush off and was hardly with me and wanted to reject me from the start. Now my response to this whole thing is no better. I'm like, they're not going to want to help me. And then sure enough, somebody there doesn't want to help me. And then I quickly give up. So I'm not claiming to be any better than her in any way. And I'm bringing my own, perhaps, manifestations and resentments to the situation. Fully owning my not proper participation in this interaction. However, if she would have listened to me properly and tried to help me, she would have gotten paid the same. So, for another example, Mom and I decided to make for each other these stocking, because we're both very low budget this Christmas. We decided to make for each other these low budget Dollar Tree stockings where we each spent $10 and filled stockings from the Dollar Tree. Very cute, right? We get up to check out at that first Dollar Tree, and the lady is smiling at everyone. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? Hey, would you like a bag today? Awesome. And how is your day going? Are you getting ready for Christmas? And I was in line, like maybe 10th in line, 9th in line. I watched her charmingly, beautifully call everyone princess and sweetheart authentically. I watched her multitask. I watched her managing receipts. I watched her and I thought, talk about manning your post. Somebody answering phones at Fred Meyer, somebody checking out bags in Dollar Tree, not necessarily similar lives, not necessarily anything, but both in customer service roles. And one is just absolutely dragging her feet, and one is absolutely slaying all of these interactions, probably developing herself, probably feeling good while she does it, probably forgetting about the passage of time. So this was like manning her post, right? So when I see that, I'm really inspired. And when I see people that from their post help me, like I went to Jiffy Lube today and everyone gave me like such an amazing experience. They were clearly rushed and in a hurry and wanted to move me along, but never once did I feel rushed. They wanted me to do simple things like turn on my blinker and high beams, and I, from muscle memory, know how to do that, but then when asked consciously, I had a freezing moment, and we all laughed together about that. Never once did I feel rushed. Never once did they make me feel like they were impatient with me. These are people who are... I don't know if it's what they wanted to do with their lives. I don't know if they like their jobs. I don't know what's going on in their lives. But they are manning their post that they're at. And they are helping people. And they are trying to make the world brighter from what I can tell. And it is inspiring. And I want to take... I love that. I respect that. I see that. And that is what I want to carry forward. No matter what I do in my life, I want to be like those people. You know? So another tool forward for consciously engaging in life is being proactive. Now, when I think about when I'm wasting time, at least recently or maybe throughout patterns in my life, sometimes I'm maybe scrolling or escaping to avoid because I'm overwhelmed, or because I'm trying to calm down, or because I'm addicted to something. These ones are a little complex, I think, for me, but feeling avoidant or feeling powerless or feeling hopeless in particular, those are also states that if I'm paying attention, sometimes those are the reasons that I go to waste time. But those are the reasons, so if I can apply a little bit of awareness and realize what I'm doing and why, I'm trying to escape because I feel powerless. I'm trying to avoid an uncomfortable situation. If I can realize what I'm doing and why, I don't think anyone... Well, it depends on someone's capacity, but with a little bit of awareness, I can understand why I'm doing something. And the other night I asked myself, why am I? Okay, I just want to escape. Why am I trying to escape? Oh, maybe just an old habit, maybe a little bit of overwhelm. I'm going to spend these 5 minutes loading the dishwasher. What a quality of life change. Instead of avoiding life, I made a change that will help my future life. So, how can I spend these 5 minutes a little bit better? Just a little bit more proactively. So, when I can handle it with grace and compassion, sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have to avoid. Sometimes we have to regulate. Sometimes we are addicted. Okay, we're all just doing the best we can. But when I can apply a little awareness, it usually has a great, great result. And the more present and aware I can be, how am I feeling right now? Just like I was talking about before, if I can be aware of why I'm doing something, why am I taking this action? Not only for the time waste that I was talking about above, but in this area, I'm also talking about, like, why am I taking this action? Oh, because I resent that person. Not so good. So being present and aware is the only way you're going to know if you're doing something, resentfully or out of resistance. So, yeah, paying lots of attention to that internal state is key here, I think. So what else? Some more tools for consciously participating in life and not being drugged through it. Gratitude. So this is just going to help in so many ways. It's going to, for example, shift the focus of the brain. I have a problem focus in my brain. I am over-optimized for finding problems. I have hypervigilant nervous system. And I have habitual worry patterns. I could say those things in many different ways. So I have to retrain my brain. And one excellent way to retrain my brain out of the focus on the problems. I mean, it's adaptive, it's addictive, it's convincing. So it's really, really hard. And again, this is going to come back to awareness. And awareness is super challenging because when you're already in these hijacked states, you're naturally, the parts of you that are going to be aware are going to be offline. So again, we're all just doing the very best that we can. But if you can practice gratitude, it can really, really help retrain the focus of the brain. For example, maybe I'm going in and talking about a relationship problem, but is there somebody there listening to me talk about it? Wow. Constantly being acknowledging that is a really beautiful thing. Not everyone has someone to talk to about this problem, about their problems. You're being listened to. Someone is here with you now. So, gratitude. Focusing on gratitude. That can be a really nice way to take back a hold of conscious participation in your own life. Consistency and baby steps also is a great way. Okay, so when you start talking about that brain that gets overwhelmed, big steps, or if there's too many steps, or if there's a lot of complexity, that's all going to result in overwhelm. But if you do small something in important areas every day, like my bookshelf, like I was talking about, one day at a time, just do a chunk of it, and then a chunk of it, and then a chunk of it, and then a chunk of it. Oh, I'm so much more prouder about that than if I banked that out in one day. I promise you. Because that is really, really good. That is really, really good patterning for the nervous system and for the future, as well as for the house. So baby steps. Everyone knows about that. Everyone talks about it, but it's good to stay. It's good to stay because it's empowering. It's empowering to get stuff done and accomplish things. So how are you going to accomplish it? One step at a time. And when you're getting overwhelmed, you got to break it down into smaller steps. So then you have to celebrate and acknowledge. That's the last tool forward I'm suggesting. You have to acknowledge, hey, what did I do today that was awesome? And celebrate it. Because those can often get glossed over by worries about the next thing, next day, next problems to solve. Hey, take some time. Write out what you did today. And when you're talking yourself through something, or you are doing something, you can be saying encouraging things to yourself at that time too. That's a good thing to be doing. So, in the spirit of taking small steps, I took some positive steps today to try out a new platform, go to the library, make some slides, organize my thoughts, express myself here now, optimize my workflow, my creativity, find a new place to work. I'm happy that I did all of those things. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that was interesting. I hope that was helpful. You're doing a great job. Really, you are. And I will talk to you next time on the Heartfinder Podcast. See you.